Hey guys, Jacob here. This is going to be today's weekly reset. This is going to be the 31st of December. This is going to be the last reset of 2019. So let's get right into it. At the base of ops today, they are selling an enhanced AUG A3. This one has measured distance and cannon. Measured is a pretty popular talent right now when people are using it on the Police M4 and using it on the Rail Splitter, which is perfectly measured. The top half of the magazine has 20% rate of fire and negative 15% weapon damage. The bottom half of the magazine has negative 20% rate of fire and 30% total damage. So if you want to make some kind of measured SMG build, you could always do so by rolling this onto another SMG or potentially keeping it on this one. Next is going to be this AUG A3 CQC. This has Saddest, Allegro, and in Rhythm. This weapon's not too bad if you're looking for an AUG to use because Saddest is mostly used on bleed builds. People are using those with the Hive, Seeker, stuff like that, starting at 30% weapon damage to bleeding enemies. Also, you get 10% rate of fire from Allegro. But if you're going to use an AUG, I'd recommend using something like the Invisible Hand, which will give you a little bit more RPM on your gun. Tactical 1911 with Spike, Optimized, and Protected Reload. Richter and Kaiser Backpack, crit chance, crit damage, 12,000 armor, safeguard, and vital. This Richter and Kaiser Backpack is not too bad. You can always change something like the armor to be a little bit higher, or change safeguard to something like Spark if you want to run it like that. Petrov Defensive Group chest piece with skill power, armor, crit damage, headshot damage, and self-adjusting. Offensive System Dexterity, which 5% optimal range, 2.5 weapon handling, and 1% weapon damage. Trauma Analyzers, which is 22% deflect duration. And the Organic Circuits, which is 63.7 duration. And that's going to be about it for the vendor at the front desk. Next is going to be the clan vendor. He is selling the Invisible Hand, believe it or not. This is the one I was talking about. If you're going to use an AUG, I'd recommend picking this one up. Due to the fact it has perfect Allegro on it, and you can always change the fast hands to something like the talent you really want. From Strange to Ranger to Saddest, stuff like that, if you really want to use this weapon. Next is going to be this Aces and Eights mask with 7% crit chance with 24% damage to elites. This mask is not too bad. You can actually pick this one up. I know a lot of you guys are wanting to get that really high DT. That way you can max the crit chance roll on the mask. But 7% isn't that bad. So I'd recommend picking this up and rolling the DT a little bit higher for your Aces builds. Next is going to be the Hardwired Gloves, which these ones have 7% LMG damage and 119 skill power. Aces and 8 gloves with shotgun damage, LMG damage. These ones are pretty bad to the fact they don't even have marksman rifle damage on them at all, or even crit chance. So unless you wanted to just have LMG on there and you use that, then I guess you could make this work. But I would not recommend picking these up. MP7 with Ranger, Extra, and Rooted. Double barrel sawed-off shotgun with Breadbasket, Allegro, and Rooted. Raleig's Holding with 725 skill power, so if you guys are looking for a pretty decent skill power, I usually don't see the 700s that often, so if you guys want to pick this up, I'd recommend doing it for people who run those really awesome skill builds, and you guys want to get your skill power up really high, or unless you're trying to make a hybrid DPS healer build, and you want to roll this onto your holster to get a little bit more skill power out of your heals. FAL with On Empty, Optimized, and Rooted. Black Market RPK with Saddest, Optimized, and Everlasting. Richter and Kaiser Gloves with 8% marksman rifle damage, LNG damage, and clutch. Overlord chest piece, which this one actually is not too bad. Only problem is you can't proc rifle with Berserk, so you'd have to roll Berserk to something like Vigilance or even Unstoppable Force or Unbreakable to the fact you cannot proc this talent with it. But overall, it has 3 reds if you guys are trying to make a DPS style rifle build. Utility System Electronics with Seeker, Shield, and Skill Power. The Seeker is 166. If you guys are looking for Seeker mines, then there's a few you can pick up to add to your build. Holster Talent for the Holster Regeneration, for the Hard Coating slot for the shield, for the Ballistic Shield, 58.6%. Nitroglycerin Mixture, which is 43.2 healing for the Hive. So, like I said, if you guys are making Hive builds earlier that people are doing, you can add this to your build if you guys are trying to make utility, like, for example, these mods. It's 43.2, and this does require 2,598, so if you guys are trying to make a healer build, then I recommend picking up that holster. That way you can make this proc a little bit easier. Pulse Coil, which is 26.1 radius, and that's about it for the clan vendor. Now the next location is going to be the Theater Settlement. And they're selling an SASG 12 with Ranger, Distance, and Cannon. Military MK17 DMR with Lucky Shot, Allegro, and Double Duty. Lucky Shot is actually not that bad in Allegro, so if you guys are trying to find a, military Mark 17, you could always change something like Lucky Shot to Boomerang and change it to Ranger as well if you guys want to use this as a rifle for a rifle build. Next is going to be the Overload Ornaments, Opportunistic Gloves with LMG damage and marksman rifle damage, which these have marksman rifle damage on them already, which you need a marksman rifle or a shotgun, so you can always change LMG to something like assault rifle if you want to run this with an assault rifle, and that way you could proc Opportunistic with the marksman rifle. Health on kill on these healing pads with 8,000 armor. Defensive mods, which have 7,939 armor, 1% health, and 1.5 total armor. These mods are probably not as good as the ones they were selling a while back, but if you guys are looking for mods, I'd recommend picking these up, especially if you're new. If you just picked up the game around, December or November, around that time. I know some of you guys probably picked it up a little bit early, but if you don't have that luck with mods, I'd recommend picking these up and adding them to your build. They're actually pretty good starter mods, but I know a lot of you guys are looking for the 3.5 or even the 4%ers or even the 5%er mods if you guys are trying to find those. Brushless DC motor for the Seeker Mine, which is 36% health. Auxiliary battery for the shield, which is 269. Shield skill power for the ballistic, hard coating, and the circuit. Fact pack, which is max targets +4 for the payload slot for the Firefly. And that's going to be about it for the theater settlement. The next location is going to be the campus settlement. They're selling a paratrooper SVD with fast hands, distance, and in rhythm. Black market RPK 74E, with status optimized and protected deploy. Fenris group mass with crit chance, 16,000 health and capacitive. China Light Industries Ulster with 19,000 health and 4 and 7 skill power. Utility system for explosive damage, grenade damage. So if you guys are making an explosive damage build for grenades, then you can pick this up for the grenade damage by 4% and get your explosive damage up for stuff like your explosive builds. PVA polymer coating with 39.8 duration for the Kill Launcher Agitator slot. Steel harness for the 32.3 health for the Hive Launcher slot. And the silicone carbide coil, which is charge speed by 41.5%. And that's going to be about it for the campus. The next location is going to be DZ West, which you guys will see right here. They're selling a Tactical Super 90 SBS shotgun with pummel, jazz hands, and everlasting. An Urban MDR with breadbasket, extra, and overlap. Badger Tough gloves with 11,000 health, 1.5 crit chance, and 5% pistol damage. Raleigh's Holdings knee pads with 11,333 health with calculated. Defensive system mods, which these ones have 3.5 health, 2.5 total armor, and 2,000 armor. The armor is not the total armor, the base armor is not that great compared to the other ones. But if you guys are looking for health and total armor mods, then I guess you guys could pick these up if you're trying to mix a little bit of health in with your build. Russian Doll Protocol, which is +6 cluster mines for the Seeker payload slot. The Weaved Aramid Fiber, which is 74% health. Micro Conduits, which is 18.3 speed for the Firefly propulsion slot. And that's going to be it for DZ West. Next up is going to be DZ South. She's selling an MP5 ST with close and personal and jazz hands. NFAL with spike, stable, and greased. Next 45 sidearm with strain, jazz hands, and double duty. Raleigh Holdings backpack with skill haste, 15,679 armor, skilled and self-adjusting. Raleigh's holding, this is a chest piece with 14% headshot damage, 8.5 crit chance, and Mad Bomber. Offensive system dexterity mod with damage to health and damage to armor. So I know some of you guys were looking for damage to armor mods a while back, and they actually were selling 2% and damage to armor and damage to health in the Thieves Den, but if you guys are looking for some, they are selling some at the base here. They're not 2%ers, but they are 1%. Vibration dampening for the 86.1 health for the drone battery slot, and the carbon fiber barrel for the turret. And that's going to be it for DZ South. Location is going to be DZ East. She's selling an SRS A1 with steady handed, distance, and zen. MG5 with close and personal, optimized, and recharged. D&H Mask with skill haste and skill power trauma. Alp Summit holster with insulated for hazard protection and 15,000 health on kill. Utility system, which has 3.5 bleed damage and grenade damage. If you guys are trying to make a bleed build, then you can add this to your build to make your bleed a little bit more effective. Feed strips for the ammo for the agitator slot for the cannon launcher. Auxiliary battery for the hive, which is 297. And the atmospheric analyzer, which is 47.1 effect duration. Just a reminder, you do need resources at the bottom here to purchase these. So if you guys are new and you're not aware, they did change this. It used to be normal currency, but now you actually need resources, and you guys can farm those throughout the DZs and collect enough and be able to purchase stuff in the vendor. But that's me about it, guys. Thank you all for watching. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. And also, Happy New Year to all you guys who helped out the channel and who got me to where I'm at now. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys next year and seeing what I produce for more content.